this is where we've got to. Yeah, so far anyway. Right. This is one of the blocks, and as you can see, I've already started cutting the blocks into size. They do fit absolutely lovely. I'll show you that in a bit, or when we get to that bit, because we've got to do a lot more machining on these yet. So that's one of the blocks. So I'll get 2 more out of there, so I'll get 6 tool holes out of that block. I've got to make some other jig up now to hold that on the bandsaw, because there's not enough to hold and then cut, but we'll get over that a bit later. One of the 3 blocks is on the bandsaw now. You can maybe hear it in the background. In fact, see it swing you around. Yeah, there you can look. So that's the second block on the bandsaw. That's slowly being cut up. Back to here. So there's my original cutter, the one that I had sharpened up. I think actually I might be able to do something with that if I put some more back relief on it. So what I ended up doing, I bought 2 of these. Now I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting a lot when I saw them, to be fair. I got them from a company in the UK called RDG Tooling, or whatever they're called. And what are these? These are 5/8. So anyway, I bought 2 of them. This one I did 1 block with, and it's kind of lost its edge. But again, I can resharpen that one. That's not a problem. Now, the brother to this one is still in the milling machine, and what I've found is, and this, if you ever decide that you want to make some tool holders yourself, and they're like these Dickson ones, it's these slots here, which so far have been the worst thing to do. But what I've found with these is, because these are actually Woodruff key cutters, they're not designed for this sort of work. So I was putting a piece of paper in the bottom of the tool holder, bringing this down, touching off, and then zeroing the Z, and then I was coming in and I was touching off on the inside, and I was taking about 40 thou per pass. So I go 40 thou down there, along this side, 40 thou back up there. Now instead of going in and putting another 40 thou in, I would bring this up. Now I think on these tool holders with this particular cutter, I had to come up 93 thou, and that gives me that gap there. So I would come up the 93 thou and then take the 40 thou along the top, and then back this way. Then I'd go into 80 thou, still running along the top, both sides, and then drop back down again, and then take the bottom part to 80 thou. Do you follow my thing? So I'm constantly stepping it. What I found is doing that, the tool that's in the milling machine at the moment has done 1 complete block, which is the one on the bandsaw, and it is still nice and sharp. So I think what happens with these T-slot cutters is, if you have them, you're burying them in the work. I don't think it can clear the cutting's quick enough because of the depth I was going at, and I think that's what takes the edge off them and ruins them. So if you take it a bit at a time and keep stepping it up and down, then hopefully the cutter will last a lot longer. No, that's the bandsaw finished. Now you see these particular tool holders that we've just cut now. These are the ones that are a direct copy of the Bison. These are going to be the same size as them. Yeah. There's a little bit of machining to come off them, so all those there are going to be the same as the Bison. However, if you look at this one, the one I've just cut off, this is a lot meatier, and this is the same, will be the same size as this. I've left maybe 60 thou, 80 thou oversize on them to trim off. You can physically see the difference there, look. And these ones are wider that way. So we should have 6 like that. We've got those 6 there for some reason. Anyway, you can see how long we've been up. I nearly drunk my tea. Right, as I was saying, in America, across the pond, you often hear about mentioning a guy called Mr. Bozo. Well, I'm pretty sure, well, I know we have the same thing over here. I don't know what he's called in England, but I've had him here. So, you can see this block down here. This is the block that we were machining before, cutting the slots in, if you remember, and when the cutter let go on me. So, I put that to one side, knowing that that was going to be where we was going to kick off again when the cutters come. Anyway, for some reason, I don't know why, I cut the other ones first. And when I was deciding yesterday to put these on the bandsaw, sorry, not yesterday, today, to put them on the bandsaw, I picked up the wrong one. I put this on the bandsaw, and I've cut 2 lumps off it. And look, we haven't even finished cutting the slots in there. But, you know, I'll get around that, that's not a problem, we'll do that. And the other thing I'd done, which I don't think I can show you, no. On the block that's in the bandsaw now, see these slots on the outside here, these profiles? Well, if you remember, I mentioned that if you put, where's a straight edge? If you put a straight edge on the top there, look, you can see that, you can see the gap there. And that was where I said I'd taken 250 thou in from the edge and down, and I just machined that off. I thought it would be a little bit less to do when I come to cut these angles on. Now, when the one that's in the bandsaw now, when it was in the milling machine and it was milling away, or with the power feed on, I took my eye off it. And I don't know whether it had pulled the quill down or pulled the tool down out of the collet, because instead of it milling down to 250 thou, it must have gone down to nearly ½ an inch before I spotted it. Now, fortunately, on this edge, this is just a decorative thing, it doesn't really matter, and it hasn't done that much damage to it. I'll show you when I get them bits anyway. But that was the other bit that I had, shall we say, ballsed up. But anyway, we'll get there. So what we're going to do, we're going to set this one up in the mill, and we're going to carry on machining these slots out of here, and at the same time we'll keep chopping them up into size with the bandsaw. Now, look at these little beauties. You see that? That is a lovely little Moore and Wright DTI, courtesy of Mr. Bob Dickson. I really like that, that's lovely. And with it being Moore and Wright as well, it's nice. I'm an Englishman and this is a English DTI. I think that's very kind of you, Bob. That's a lovely little piece of engineering there, isn't it? Spot on. So we have that one, and we've also got this Mitutoyo. It's got all the clamps on and everything. Zero that out. Look at that. Right little Bobby Dazzler that, isn't it? Now they're both metric. I did mention that I hadn't got any. Oh, I'll get it in the light now. I did mention that I hadn't got any metric DTIs, and Bob kindly sent these. He's obviously stripped them and he's polished them and he's given them the once over. They're that nice. I mean, I don't really want to use them, but I'm going to do, because if they get marked up, I'll send them back to Bob and I'll get Bob to clean them up for me. But I shall really look after them. They're very, very nice, and they'll come in really handy now we've got a metric lathe. So cheers, Bob, I owe you one, buddy. They're really nice, mate. I really appreciate that. Right, we'll put them there. So we'll get this onto the milling machine, and we'll get back to showing you how I cut these slots. Ah, by the way, just before we do that, if you're wondering why I'm using a Woodruff key cutter to do these, because some of you will know you can actually buy a purpose-made slot cutter to do this with. I couldn't find one of the size that I needed at a reasonable price. I mean, I found a couple of carbide ones, well, one in particular which was an indexable one that you could alter the teeth on the end of it, but the cost of it was going to be ridiculous. So I'd already made 15 or 16 of these a long time ago for my bantam lathe, so I knew I could cut the slots alright if only I could get the right T-slot cutter to do it. Sorry, Woodruff key cutter to do it. So when they came and I realised how small they were, I thought, well, these are not going to do the job, but they actually turned out alright like so. Anyway, I digress, we'll get going. We're all zeroed out, we're on the right depth. Fluid going here. I won't video too much of this, I'll just show you how we're getting on with this. So you can see we're not going through it too bad at that. That's taking about 40 thou depth to cut. We're running now about 415 RPM and we've got the spray coolant on. I hope he's not going over the counter. I'm going to get these two bits, well, this bit machined up, do those other two bits I've already cut off, and then I think what we'll do, we'll start to machine all the blocks up, these faces, screw them up, and then we'll have to decide what cutters are going to go in where. Also need to find a decent M10 should I say, tap from somewhere. I might have a look to see what MSC or Footwell Tools have got on offer. Well, that cutter has already cut one of these blocks, so you know, it's not going too bad really. Makes a big difference being able to spray some coolant on it. Got to run in roughly 515 thou either side from centre. And we're at now 400 thou. So there's another 115 thou to come this way, and obviously the same to the other side. But we've already chopped a good bit out there on the other side, so anyway, we'll see how she goes. What we've done now, we've dropped the table down 93 thou, and we're making the slot wider this way now, and you can hear it's not making anything of it at all. That's what I was saying about lifting the cutter up and down. Don't try to go in, don't keep going in at say 30, 40, 50, 60 power, whatever, one foot after the other until you get to full depth. Stagger it up and down, and then these cutters seem to go so much better. That'll be us 500 power in off then. That now gives us the 500 either side from centre, so what I'll do, I'll let this run to the end till it comes out the other end. I'll take a measurement between the two slots, and then I'll add on whatever it needs. I think we needed about 515 power. Once I'm happy that the slots are right width, we just run up down either side and then drop it back down to the base and do the last 2 foots at that depth either side, and that's that one good. This will be the last pass on that back side. That's just taking a 15th hour clean up pass. So when it's gone to that, when it's finished that that cut, I'll bring it and do the same on this side here, and then I'll have that one done. It's a bit of a slow job cutting these slots, but you know, it's a necessary evil, I'm afraid. But I think if I were going to make another load of these, which I may do one day, I don't know, I would most probably invest in a carbide slot cutter, because this really is the only thing so far that's been an absolute pain in the arse, because it is just steady, but I'm afraid that's the nature of it. One of these days I'll have to get the coolant rigged up on this machine. The pump and everything's in there. In fact, there is the nozzle for it, look. Let you see it. Yeah, that's the one for it. Just got to get it sorted. I've got power for it. So anyway, we'll see. Get these two finished off. These are the two I accidentally cut off. Cut them off a bit too early. Anyway, shouldn't take long, just whipping these bits out and then onwards and upwards. It's giving birth to a woodwork key cutter. After this, it'll need another 15 bar clean up pass and done. Nearly there. That's the last of the slots. Right, that's all that done. That's the last one slotted. So I'm going to now take these out, have a bit of a clean down, and I think that's going to do it. That'll be another wrap on this video, I think, and we'll see. Sorry if it gets a bit repetitive on this, boys, considering what we had on the last video, but it is what it is. I can't really do a lot about it. Anyway. These are the two we've just done. I haven't even took the burrs off them yet. Ooh. That feels good. That feels good. Right, so that's off the first block. So this would be off the second block. I'll tell you, there's no gaps. That's locking nicely there. This is the one we used as the pattern. Ooh, see, the handle goes further round. So we're at what? Just gone 1/4 to. And that's about 10 to. Yeah, so we've actually made them a little bit tighter, which I'm more than happy about. So, and then this one is one of the bigger. There's the one you can see now where I was, you know, where I was saying earlier. If you look at the edge of that one, where it bulged up on me. Now that's what it should have looked like. This is when the milling cutter went down. You can see on the top there, look, it just pulled itself down. I'm not 100% sure why, but anyway. Well, I've got to be honest, Al's extremely happy with the fit on them. They fit really, really well. That's the bigger block, that one. Just one other thing, this will be the end of this video, but just one other thing I wanted to mention before I forget. Now, I know when, come here, little soot. I know when I set that up in the machine to cut these angles, it didn't look very scientific and it not very professional. But I'm going to be straight with you. If I put a dowel pin into that slot, I can use a micrometer and get a measurement from there to there. However, all these tool holders are different dimension from there to there. Some are wider, some are not. So, I mean, this is just a centre drill, it's too big. It only wants to be like a 5 or 6 mil pin in there. And you could put a depth mic, you could sit a depth mic on the top of there and take a measurement to the top of the pin. So when that's in the milling machine and you're taking all your cuts, you can drop your depth mic and your pin in, couldn't you? And you could get that bit right. But the bit I struggled with is the distance from here to the centre of that V coming in at an angle. That's where I struggle getting my head around. I mean, I know there will be a way of working it out with mathematics and all the rest of it, but me and mathematics are not really very good friends, to be fair. So the way I did it, and I should have shown this a bit clearer before, let me bring you in a bit, is you see on the back of this tool holder here where the blue in is. That's just blue Sharpie. So when I brought that down there, bear in mind that was sat flat in the milling machine, wasn't it? That came down, change hands, and the head on the mill was set at 45. Now I had the head out of gear, so what I did, I brought it down till it wasn't touching there, it was just off, and I kept turning the head by hand and moving the work towards me until it made just the tiniest little scratch on the Sharpie mark there, and then I knew we was right that way. And then all I had to do was bring the quill down with a piece of paper under it, which was about 5 thou thick, or the feeler gauge, I think I used, didn't I? You do it with paper, no matter what. Well, I brought that down till it kissed the bottom. I knew then we was kissing the back, and that's how I set it to cut those angles. Now that is not the professional way to do it, I know, but trust me, you've just seen it on there, it worked exceptionally well. I mean, there is no gap there at all. You wouldn't get a feeler gauge down there if anything. They've pulled up just an absolute treat. So I'm more than happy. This pin here, does anybody know what this is for? There isn't a hole in the top of the top sliders are there for this to locate it. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, next video will be machining the tops of these, cleaning them all up, getting them all the right size. We'll maybe surface grind both sides. So what we'll do, we've got 4 or 5 of these, of the big ones. We'll machine them all the same size. Going back to that bit there that I ballsed up, you can see what I mean. Look, it doesn't affect the tool holder at all, as long as it's got that bit there to pull on. So yeah, cleaning them up, then we'll have to start to make some decisions on what tools I'm going to put in where. Machine the slots out of here, and then shitloads of drilling and tapping. So right, methinks that will do, and we'll see you on part whatever it is next. I can't remember now. Well, they're all there ready. Look, still got a long way to go though. Still a fair bit of work to do. Yeah, just how it is, isn't it? See you later.